I stared at the screen for a long time. It had been 2 years since I'd last heard from them, 2 years since I'd walked out of the Pierce mansion with nothing but a suitcase and a promise to myself that I'd never go. Back in 2 years since my father called me a disappointment, and my mother turned her face away, pretending not to see the tears streaming down mine. And now, just like that, an invitation. I almost deleted it, but something inside me whispered, go. Not for them, but for the truth that still lived in the shadows of that house. Saturday came wrapped in soft autumn chill. The golden leaves scattered across the long driveway of the Pierce estate, like pieces of memory I never asked to keep. As I parked outside, my heart pounded harder than I wanted to admit. The mansion looked the same, elegant, cold, and hauntingly quiet. When I rang the bell, the door opened to reveal Evelyn Pierce, my mother, still flawless, still distant. "Natalie," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You came. I got your email," I said simply. Her gaze flicked down to my modest black dress. "You could have worn something lighter. It's a dinner, not a funeral." I almost laughed. Funny you should say that, I thought. Inside, the dining room glowed with warm light, crystal glasses, and polished silverware. Everything my father loved to show off. He sat at the head of the table, proud as ever, his tailored suit screaming authority. "Natalie," he said, nodding stiffly. "Good of you to join us." I gave him a polite smile. Didn't realize I had a choice. Across from him sat Ethan, my older brother, perfect son, golden boy, the one who'd always had their love. His wife, Caroline, flashed me that soft, fake smile that always meant trouble, and then I saw it, the empty chair beside my father's, my old seat. Apparently, they hadn't even bothered to move it. Dinner began with forced conversation. Caroline bragged about her new gallery opening. Ethan talked about his promotion. My father lectured about responsibility and image. I kept my head down, sipping wine, letting their words wash over me like static. Then Evelyn said softly, "You look tired, dear." "Still working at that shelter?" "Yes," I said. "Still helping people who need it." She frowned. "You could do more with your degree, Natalie. You were meant for something bigger." I smiled without warmth. "Helping people is bigger, Mom." There was a pause, the kind of silence that hums with judgment. Then my father cleared his throat. "We're glad you're here, Natalie. There's something we wanted to tell you." My heart tightened. "What is it?" He exchanged a glance with Evelyn, then looked at me. "Your mother and I are changing the will." I froze. He continued, voice calm, deliberate. "We're leaving the estate to Ethan and Caroline. You'll still receive something modest, of course, but..." I put down my fork. "But not the house. Not the inheritance, right?" Ethan sighed. "Nat, it's just... Dad thinks it's more practical." My chest burned. More practical. That's what they called it when they erased me. My mother reached out, her diamond bracelet glittering in the light. "It's not personal, dear. You've chosen a different path. A different path." The same words she'd said the night I left. I sat there, staring at the table that once felt like home, surrounded by people who'd never really seen me, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel broken. I felt ready. If they wanted to erase me, they should have remembered one thing: you can't bury the truth, not when I'm still alive to tell it. The air inside the dining room grew heavy, like the walls themselves knew what was about to happen. I stared at the faces that once meant home to me. My father's pride, my mother's denial, my brother's smirk, and I realized something that made my pulse steady instead of shake. I wasn't scared anymore. I leaned back in my chair, my voice calm. "You're changing the will. Fine. But before you go rewriting history, maybe we should talk about what really happened the night of the accident." The room went silent. Even the candles flickered, as if they'd felt the chill that ran through everyone. My father's jaw tightened. "Natalie, we're not bringing that up again." Ethan shifted in his seat, eyes darting away. Caroline froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. Mom whispered, "Nat, please." That was years ago. Exactly, I said softly. And for years you've all let me carry the blame for something I didn't do. My father's hand slammed against the table. Enough! The wine in my glass trembled, but I didn't flinch. You told the police it was me driving that night, I said. You said I crashed the car. I ran that stop sign. I almost killed that boy. I looked right at Ethan. But we both know that wasn't true, do we? Ethan's face drained of color. Nat, stop, I laughed, quietly, painfully. You remember how you came home drunk from that college party? How Dad found the dent in the car and said, "We'll handle this privately." You promised me if I took the blame, you'd tell the truth later. But later never came, did it? My mother's lips trembled. We were protecting the family, Natalie. Your brother's future was worth more than mine. I finished her sentence for her. The truth spilled out of me like glass breaking. Years of silence, guilt, and shame, all burning to the surface. I lost everything because of that lie, I said, my voice shaking but strong. My scholarship, my friends, my name. I was labeled reckless, unstable. You told everyone I needed help, that I was the problem. Tears slid down my mother's face. We didn't mean, but you did, I said. You meant every word. My father's eyes blazed. We did what we had to do. The Pierce name had to be protected. I stood up. You protected your name, not your daughter. Then I reached into my purse and pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a USB drive. I slid it across the table toward Ethan. What's this? He asked, voice barely above a whisper. The truth, I said. Security footage from that night. The gas station camera you thought had been erased. It shows exactly who was driving. He froze. My father's face went white. My mother covered her mouth with a trembling hand. How did you... Someone finally decided to tell me the truth, I said. The owner of that station kept a copy. He said he could never forget how young that boy looked, or how terrified you were, Ethan. Caroline gasped. Oh my God. Ethan stood, shaking his head. You wouldn't dare release that. I smiled faintly. I already did, my father's fist clenched. Natalie, it's over, I said quietly. The reporters have it. The police will reopen the case. Maybe this time they'll believe me. For a long time, no one spoke. Then my mother whispered, You've destroyed us. I looked at her, tears burning my own eyes. No, Mom, I set us free. Because the truth doesn't destroy families. Lies do. I walked toward the door, my heels echoing on the marble floor, each step lighter than the last. Before I left, I turned back one last time. My father sat pale and silent, the man who once ruled everyone's lives reduced to a statue. Ethan's head was in his hands, sobbing quietly, and my mother just stared at me, whispering, I'm sorry. I smiled sadly. So am I. Then I walked out, into the cold night air, the wind brushing against my tears. And for the first time in years, I felt something pure, not anger, not pain, just peace. Because I'd finally told the truth, and I hadn't done it to destroy them. I'd done it to heal myself,